So I'd say the hardest track on our equipment, on the bikes, probably Southwick, just for the fact the sand gets everywhere and it grinds on stuff, it ruins the linkages. It's always in the wiring harness, you have to change the wiring harness afterwards. You just can't get rid of the sand. It doesn't actually beat anything up, but the amount of stuff you have to replace after is probably the highest.
For us, I'd almost say, if it's not a mud moto, Glen Helen's pretty much the worst, just because it's basically sandblasts all your parts, and it's just really hard on the bike. The dirt's really gritty, and it's got some rocks and stuff, and that for us, that's one of the toughest ones, I would say.
The toughest tracks, Southwick, obviously, just because the sand gets in everywhere, kind of just beats stuff up. And then Glen Helen is actually pretty bad too. It's pretty sandy, a lot. It's like decomposed granite, so that kind of acts like sand gets in, just kind of messes everything up. So those are the two toughest tracks on the bike.
Glen Helen is definitely the hardest on bikes. Just how hard it is, and the big jumps they build every year is really hard on the wheels. Always blown out wheels there. You gotta really be on top of your spokes.
Glen Helen for sure, because the small rocks and the rough sand.
I would say probably Southwick's pretty bad, and then Unadilla. Unidilla's pretty rocky, so stuff just kind of gets chewed up, everything gets roosted pretty bad. And then Southwick just being sand, just gets everywhere.
Okay, most treacherous track. Well, they're all pretty gnarly. Probably Southwick's probably the hardest, just because of the sand and stuff. The bikes seem to work and run a lot hotter there. And other than that, anything with rocks usually gets pretty beat up. But Unadilla's pretty rough on them, the rocks and stuff. Like Hangtown and Glen Helen is usually pretty hard, like cosmetically. Bikes, everything's hammered up those rounds. But yeah, probably Southwick, easily. Yeah, Southwick's got to be the hardest on the bike.
For us, Southwick is really hard on the engines, just because it's constant load the whole time at a high RPM, trying to get through the sand. And then tracks like Unadilla with those rocks, the rocks hit the bottom of the radiators and the headers, and beats up the front of the frame a lot as well. Just any rocks hitting the inside of the frame, it's just all really hard on it. That way, Unadilla and Southwick for sure, with the engine being kind of high RPM for so long in the sand.
The hardest track by far is Southwick. You know, just the sand is brutal. It's hard on the engine. It's hard on the bearings and the chassis. It just eats the bike up. And that's pretty much where we race. That's the toughest track for sure.
My personal opinion, Unadilla, man. You go there and you want to change your clamps after. You want to change your wheels. Obviously, the plastics, your radiators, the whole deal, height. The rocks there are really gnarly, and the 450 class, they come flying at a high rate of speed and do some damage. So typically, I know we all put on little extra guards and stuff like that to try to protect the bike, but most of the time you want to just find the nearest traction and throw your bike away.